Tonight on Nightline, is America addicted to porn? It's a multi-billion-dollar industry, but is watching pornography harmful? The stars say it's merely entertainment, but critics call it addictive and dangerous fantasy. Tonight, the world's biggest porn star goes head-to-head with a pastor and a former adult film producer. It's the Nightline Face-Off.
From the global resources of ABC News, with Terry Moran, Martin Bashir, and Cynthia McFadden, this is Nightline, February 29, 2008.
Good evening. There was a time when pornography was regarded as something of a dirty secret. Magazines hidden between comic books, videos stashed away at the back of the closet. But porn is neither a secret anymore, nor the indulgence of the few. The internet has made it almost universal, and profits are booming as a result. But the fundamental question remains, is it a valid form of adult entertainment, or is pornography dangerous and harmful to those who watch it? Tonight, in a special debate, we put the question to some whose livelihoods are at the very root of this controversy. This is the Nightline Face-Off.
Action!
Like it or hate it, it's impossible to ignore it. Pornography is one of America's most successful industries. According to one trade publication, the business of pornography earns $14 billion a year, employs more than 100,000 people, and is one of the most popular subjects on the web. Starring consenting adults and regulated solely for those 18 and over, pornography seems like a harmless form of entertainment. But there are others who are not so sure. They point to the effect of pornography on young people, suggesting that the largest consumers of pornography are young boys between the ages of just 12 and 17. They also claim that much of pornography is about degrading men and women, and that an interest in pornography harms people's marriages. With opinions so divided, students at one university decided to host a debate to discuss whether America is addicted to porn. Sex Week at Yale is now a biennial event in the student calendar and includes a fashion show and lectures delivered by renowned sex therapists.
This is my first time at an Ivy League college.
This year, they also invited some experts in the field of pornography to do battle before an audience of 400 students. And I was invited to moderate.
Good to see you. How are you? Why did I agree to this?
Aged 54, Ron Jeremy is listed in the Guinness Book of Records as starring in over 2,000 adult films.
So, what can I do for you?
I'd really like to get a tattoo.
More than any other performer.
So you want a tattoo?
Supporting Ron Jeremy is a woman half his age and in the same business.
What's your name?
Sunrise.
Monique Alexander is contracted to Vivid, one of the world's biggest porn production companies.
But I want to talk about loving God and loving other people.
In opposition to the porn stars is a preacher. Craig Gross runs an online community called XXX Church. Its mission? To explain what he says are the dangers of pornography. We filmed him last year as he handed out Bibles at the National Porn Convention in Las Vegas.
Cheers. Oh, these are my notes.
Alongside Craig Gross is his latest convert, Donny, a former porn producer who stopped filming sex and is now studying at seminary.
I'm pretty excited.
As the lines began to form for the sold-out event, both sides limbered up for the debate.
I got to one-up Ron. You know, he's going to be in sweatpants. I said that pastor's got to wear a tie.
This is Scott's anthem. Here's.
Ron Jeremy enjoyed the company of some student models.
If I had a foot fetish, this would be a great place to hang out.
While Craig and Donny prayed with their supporters.
Yeah, I pray that they see something different in me and Donny, that they're not going to see in Ron and Monique.
There's some really good-looking people that go to this school.
There's no saving seats, there's no picking seats. It's a rough night, I know.
It's a packed house.
You just go like,
yeah, we have 3.
He's too busy.
doing a meet and greet and hugging and signing boobs, you know, before the show. So I'm bringing some new stuff at him tonight.
We're on the defensive. See, it's tough on us because we're on the defensive.
Right.
I like what Craig does for a living. I have no problem with his career. He has a problem with ours.
As they take their seats, the students are clear about where their sympathies lie.
I'm just here because I love porn.
I don't personally endorse pornography.
Donny Pauling, Monique Alexander, Craig Gross, and finally, give it up for Ron Jeremy.
I've heard better. I've heard better.
Hello, I'm Martin Bashir, and this is the Nightline Face-Off. According to one survey, there are more than 40 million page views of porn a day in America alone, and at least one of the panelists was already well known to the audience.
Hi, I'm Ron Jeremy, actor, director in the world of adult movies. I believe that porn, which is a multi-billion-dollar business, has the right to exist.
I'm just here to basically talk about what really goes on behind porn. It's always presented as some fantasy and some great life, but I think that you'll find the realities really don't match up with that.
I'm here to show you all a look at the women's side of porn and let you know that we're not degraded and we have a good time with our job.
Tonight, I'm excited to be here and share with you the truth about porn.
He comes after my industry. Me and Monique are going to defend it, and I'm going to slam dunk every one of his points.
And I would say at 5'4", Ron, you won't slam dunk anything.
That was funny. That was good.
Much of the opposition to pornography has come from the church, but Craig Gross, who's an evangelist, is not interested in condemnation, but the effects of consumption.
You guys are consuming more porn than any generation before you. I think it's dangerous.
Well, anybody can be addicted. I'm not saying there's not a problem, but you don't blame an entire industry on a few people who have problems.
The average age that someone sees porn is 11.
One of the ways society measures success is when you make a lot of money. It's not the only thing, but these are all the girls who are becoming millionaires.
Hustler's most popular line is called Barely Legal. Some other titles I found: Exploited Babysitters, I'm Only 16, Young, Dumb, and Full of Don't Tell Daddy. And you laugh at those titles, but here's what I'm saying. You know porn ends up in the hands of kids, and you know what this industry is doing.
I'll try to make it quick.
But it was former porn producer Donny Pauling who brought the room to a standstill. For almost a decade, he made $500,000 a year directing explicit films. But then suddenly, he quit the business. He recalled what he says happened to a woman who starred in one of his films.
She was raped repeatedly. She was impregnated and has a baby that she has no idea who the dad is because it was a product of rape. This is not stuff that just happens occasionally. You don't see between takes models curled in a fetal position sucking their thumb. You don't see on the screen over and over again the takes. You don't see them puking. You don't see them looking at men. A lot of the girls that I worked with end up hating men.
Oh, geez, where do I begin after all that? First off, there's definitely people who are victimized in our industry, and some of the things they say are true, but with everything in life, you have a choice, and if you choose to get in this industry, you should realize the consequences. I have no sympathy for any of these girls. You make a choice in life.
But a number of commentators, including the feminist author Naomi Wolf, are less concerned about performers and more interested in viewers, arguing that pornography has the effect of undermining reality. The point they were making is that by creating a fantasy world, a fictitious world, it rather makes reality look very banal and tedious by comparison. Do you accept the point that Craig was making, that actually by using pornography, you're inevitably going to feel dissatisfied with a real, authentic relationship with a partner?
Hell no. Are you kidding me? What kind of idiot must you be? That's what makes it kind of like a marital aid sometimes. You know, you and your wife look at a film together and say, looks kind of sexy. We call it a standing ovation. You stand up, you leave the room, and you practice in the bedroom.
I listed the titles, and what you keep landed on is that this is the marital aid. Most people that look at porn, 76% watch it all by themselves. 40 million people a day log on the internet, most of the times between the hours of 9 to 5.
Isn't there a certain inevitability about this? The more you repress pornography, the more likely you are to have problems as a result. Isn't it much better to be, as Ron says, more open, more relaxed, and therefore not create this kind of furtive, disordered view of the whole industry of pornography?
I don't think it's a matter of just repressing this and, okay, being more open-minded. I mean, this is what we've said here this is filthy stuff that is not what God has created sex to be. Pornography is a cheap substitute for that.
As tempers rose on stage, there was an increasing desire on the part of students to weigh in. They wouldn't have to wait long to start challenging those on the podium. When we come back, the question, would you let your child do porn? We return now to the face-off and the dispute over the question, are Americans addicted to pornography? Some of the most brilliant young minds in the country, students from Yale University, now have their opportunity to chime in. It's rare that the public ever gets the chance to question those who appear in pornographic movies. But the Sex Week debate allowed students direct access to two stars of the business.
I'd like to direct this question specifically to Ron and Monique. I was wondering what your mother, what your grandmother, other relatives think about what you do and how it affects your family life in general.
They understand it and they're okay with it. It led to a path to other things. I got my master's and did my teaching thing. But look, let's face the facts. There's a double standard in society. You know, you raise your son, you know, go get him, son, make dad proud. You say, hey, look all the girls chasing Junior. He's a real stud muffin. Then you raise your daughter, don't you dare.
Okay, well, let's come to Monique. Monique, I'm assuming that your parents, when you were growing up and you had a Barbie doll and a doll's house, didn't imagine that one day their beautiful daughter would end up appearing in a film called Carpet 4.
I mean, no parent wants their child to do porn. But I am very fortunate to have a very supportive family. My grandmother, which was very odd for her to say this to me, came up to me and she was like, you know what, Monique, I'm proud of you. I'm happy that you're out there and you're making a living. At least you're out there and you're trying and you're not doing anything illegal. And it just really
Having dealt with family objections to the industry, questions were then raised about whether pornography has the effect of diminishing or even perverting sex.
Some people said that, you know, porn creates a fantasy and that makes a lot of people feel badly about reality, which I would have to agree with. But isn't that true of Hollywood? Isn't that true of literature? Isn't that true of mythology?
Wait a second. What is your question?
My question is, do you think that all fantasy that makes people feel bad about reality is bad?
These titles, you know, Ron says, oh, this is fantasy. They don't really do this stuff. Not only degrading, but when you watch this stuff, you're going to want to go do these things. You're going to want to take this stuff offline. And a lot of times it's going to get you to do things you never thought you would do. And a lot of times, yeah, it is commit a crime. A lot of times it's doing stuff that you're not proud of.
He is so full of crap. Your statistics are totally wrong. Does not lead to aberrant behavior. Every survey ever said that on the planet, and you're going against every... If I thought that people watching porn are going to commit sexual crimes, I would not have been in business 30 damn years.
Okay.
Every finding says it does not lead to criminal behavior. Everyone here who's got a doctorate in sexology...
I've taken people to jail. I've seen it.
You're so full of crap.
She's an expert and she's seen it.
Where do you get your bull? Here's my statistics. You got...
Your stuff's older than me.
Perhaps one of the strongest objections to pornography is that it demeans women. But one woman in the audience challenged that assumption.
You guys are both saying that being in the porn industry is almost universally demeaning towards women. But what I'm wondering is...
Who said that?
She's talking about
these guys, yeah.
Don't worry. You're good. But I'm wondering, isn't it more demeaning to sort of force this victim status on an entire sector of women who are choosing this job of their own free will?
We agree.
Great. Great.
But Craig Gross pointed to the large number of women who he says keep calling him and his XXX church colleagues for help to get out of the business.
I didn't start this ministry 6 years ago and think one day we'll have porn stars calling my cell phone saying, help, I need out. I can't do this anymore. I've had 4 surgeries on my body because of this. I might never have kids. We're not just saying, hey, come over to our side, Monique. We're not. They're calling us saying, I can't do this job anymore. It's ruining my life. We currently are helping about 6 gals that just left the industry last year So we're not making it up that they're victims. They're calling us saying, help, I can't do this anymore.
Okay, he's got 6 girls. You got 2 girls in your letter here. That's total 8 girls. I'll give you hundreds of girls who are perfectly happy making porn. They have nice lives after porn. So that's the big majority, not what you're talking about.
Ron Jeremy never intended to become a porn star. His early career involved working as a special education teacher. So would he advise anyone else to follow him into the business?
I hear you're in the midst of settling down with a woman, possibly tying the knot. I don't know if you have children. If you had a daughter and she pursued the porn industry, how would you react to that?
Well, first I have a pet tortoise. Now the thing is, what I said to the guy earlier is similar. Is that when you have, like, there's a double standard, and it's a little tougher when you have a daughter who wants to do it than a guy. But first of all, a lot of girls in porn have not had a lot of college education. I think she has, I know Candida has, Julie Ashton has, none of them haven't.
Would you be happy
Wouldn't be my
for
first
your
choice
daughter?
If she has...
Would you be happy for your daughter to appear in some of the films that you've appeared in and to be
I like to think that she would choose a route like Jenna Jameson did, like she's done or she's done. I like to think that she would do that. When she turns 18 years of age, she'll do what she wants, but I like to think I'll raise her a certain way.
After she graduates from college, would you be proud of her?
My first choice is president and being at Yale. Second choice, porn's fine.
Okay, thank you. So, with the debate coming to a close, who won? And were any of the students persuaded to change their minds?
Nightline continues from New York City with Martin Bashir.
We return once more to the Nightline face-off. The debate between porn stars Ron Jeremy and Monique Alexander on one side and porn critics Craig Gross and Danny Pauling on the other is about to conclude. So, has either side landed a decisive blow?
I've seen it.
You're so full of crap.
She's an expert and she's seen
Where do you
it.
get your bull?
For 90 minutes, students and panelists had debated the pros and cons of pornography.
Why is the porn industry fundamentally different from any one of these other industries that degrades its workers?
Arguments about exploitation had been rebutted with claims that the business empowers some women. And to the suggestion that pornography creates an unrealistic fantasy world came the reply, so does all fiction. But neither side had moved positions by the end of the debate.
My goal or my hope would be when you go home, you think twice about putting on a porn.
Part of that wide world of entertainment, nothing more and nothing less.
Ready, 1, 2, 3.
The arguments continued well after the formal debate had finished.
So is it more imposing controls on the internet?
The more we talk about it, the more that we make people aware of that.
Now, what if you found that like special person and they said you'd have to stop the industry and you really love that person?
If it was the time for me to stop, I would stop, but this is my job.
And as for the Yale students we'd met earlier in the evening,
none of my opinions changed. I still love porn.
I just hope it sort of stirs up the debate even further.
They felt the debate was an honourable draw.
I don't know how I feel anymore.
Porn won.
No, I don't think porn won.
The porn guys definitely won. They had way better arguments.
The guys against porn.
Porn won.
As for those on the stage, Ron and Monique were pleased by the audience response.
A lot of women came up to me, and a lot of men, too, said, thank you for standing up for women's rights.
We sympathize with some of the girls that Craig comes across. I sympathize with some of the problems Donny had in his own mind, trying to understand his desire to produce porn. We understand that we're not cruel people.
As for Craig and Donny, they were still fighting their corner.
You think I'm crazy now. You think I'm off my rocker, but I think I'm on to something.
They kept on focusing on questions that would make it seem like, oh, is it okay for us to do porn? And that was never the topic of discussion. The topic of discussion was, should we?
The research evidence against legal pornography is at best equivocal. But there's no doubt about one thing. Pornography is no longer a dirty little secret. It's a multi-billion-dollar business. And while there are people watching and profits to be made, the business will continue to grow. Because, as we've known for years, sex really does sell.
Porn is bigger than all of us. It was around before we were born. It'll be long after we're dead.
As you'd expect, this face-off has already set off a fiery exchange on our website, and you can join the conversation and view the full unedited version of tonight's debate. That's at nightline.abcnews.com.